Welcome to Don't Be a Basic Biscuit, a real estate marketing podcast where we talk about what it takes to stand out in today's real estate world. I'm your host, Harveer Singh, and you can find me on all social platforms under the handle Real Estate Singh. Now let's get the show on the road. Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to Don't Be a Basic Biscuit. I have an awesome guest on the show today. J. Philip Faranda, you could call him Phil, and don't ask me what the J stands for. It's J. Philip Faranda, we'll call him Phil. Phil is awesome. He's a fellow manager at our company, Howard Hanna Rand Realty, and we become thick as thieves, good friends. And what I've noticed is that he's kind of gone all in on the LinkedIn strategy for realtors. So I thought that, we've talked about Instagram, Facebook, we talked about all these other social media platforms, but we didn't really deep dive into LinkedIn, which, if you think about it, that's where all the people with the money are. They are all the professionals in the world are on LinkedIn. So why aren't we paying so much attention to LinkedIn as much as we should be? So, Phil, why don't you give us a little bit of your introduction and anything you want to say about yourself?
Okay, well, as my grandfather would say, I sell at a house, and I've been doing this since the 90s, so I'm old. And I find that putting content on LinkedIn now, the way I used to blog, is more or less therapeutic. It is harnessing my inner rant and packaging it in a professional package. What just happened? Did I disappear there for a second?
That was no, you did not. That was probably a LinkedIn notification because you're always on there.
No, it was my printer asked if I wanted to update my software. No, I do not. I
not right now, printer. Stop
not
it.
Right now, printer. Down, boy. Right?
That's funny.
All right, so I live in Westchester County. I have 4 kids. Oldest is 22, youngest is 17. He's the last one in the house. He's a senior in high school, and I've been doing this since 96. I manage 2 offices, and I've done a few other things. And the J stands for Joseph. It's not a big deal.
Oh, there you go. The J stands for Joseph. Guys, Phil is actually, you can see me smiling if you're watching it on YouTube, but if you're listening to the podcast, I am smiling because Phil is actually quite hilarious. So every time he opens his mouth, I feel like he's about to say a joke. It's like probably meeting a stand-up comedian in person. You're just expecting them to be hilarious. But so Phil, now you talked about, your background and, you're a great manager. I've seen your things. I've followed your advice on some stuff as well. Now, what made you first think? Yeah, no, it worked. So far, so good. So far, so good. Why was it that you jumped into LinkedIn? Did you test the other ones out and then, you fell in love with LinkedIn, or were you like, hey, I don't see anybody else doing it?
Right. So I would have to go back to something called Active Rain, which was a social community and blogging platform just for real estate professionals, bankers, home inspectors, stagers, and of course, brokerage. And I found that networking with agents across the country is a great way to position myself as the go-to referral guy. And the New York metropolitan area and Westchester County here is a destination. And I started to get referrals. I was in a networking group. I'm still in that networking group. And one of the members was a LinkedIn consultant guy. And we sat down and we looked at the profile, and he gave me some great ideas on optimizing my profile. And it's interesting. Just for fun, I uploaded a native video onto LinkedIn. In other words, instead of linking to an Instagram or a YouTube video, I actually uploaded it to LinkedIn. And I got that shot of dopamine because I got immediate engagement.
Success.
Right.
Okay.
I got immediate engagement. And I got back channel communications like more please, or I agree, or that was stupid. And I started to do that. And one of them was an angry rant.
Those are the best.
Right.
I call them grind my gear posts.
Right. To respond to a Manhattan agent who claimed that his company was the first to introduce technology into the real estate industry. And I was a commando proctologist on that guy, and apparently a rival firm started passing it around, and it got about 10,000 views.
Ooh.
So I figured, look.
They were probably passing it around like, this guy's going crazy online, but little did they know they were helping you out.
I got hundreds of linked requests, and they all came from the one Element. I might as well say
Oh,
Douglas Elliman, guys that were like, yeah, we want to follow you. And then LinkedIn invited me to a content creators thing in like real life.
oh, okay.
And I went to that, and it was, it was interesting, and I'm still connected with. And the thing about that was the people from all industries, construction guys and accountants and butchers, bakers, candlestick makers, and I'm, connected to most of those folks to this day as well.
When was that?
It's got to be 6 or 8 years ago.
Oh, wow. So you've been really jumping in on the LinkedIn scene for a while now.
I have my ebbs and flows. I'm flowing the past year or two.
Yes, I've noticed, because that was kind of the reason why I reached out to you. Is just I've been, I go on LinkedIn as well, and I kind of try to do the engagement in there, and I just keep seeing your posts, and you've got a lot of engagement on your posts, and you've really built a community there. So if somebody was coming today and was asking you, how do I get started with LinkedIn, what would you say to them, and what advice would you give to them?
Well, first of all, I would start watching what other people do and engage with them, right? So givers gain. And I follow a lot of people. I follow you. I follow a lot of what I would call, worth emulating type of practitioners who burp and they get 40 or 50 responses or more. And I'm not talking about, Ariana Huffington. I'm talking about, smart men and women who consistently put best practices and cautionary tales and helpful content, not pick me baloney, but like helpful educational content. And I interact with them. And it of course, everything in my day gives me new ideas for content. As a matter of fact, I'm going to post a video about how to be a backup offer and how not to be a backup offer, because this passive aggressive nag keeps sending me these texts about how come a deal in my office still hasn't closed because she's got interested people whose offer wasn't accepted. And it's like, all you need to do is call the agent directly and tell them that if this falls through, you're still interested. You don't need to bring the manager in on it.
At least they're persistent, but they seem a little aggressive there.
Yeah,
unnecessary.
I admire persistence in all things being equal, but be professional. And you know what? Sunday mornings at 10, probably not an optimal time to get an update on a holiday weekend.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Think about it. It's that you're not getting the broker on your side right now. Yeah. Oh man, that's cool. So then, like, how would you? So that's a great post type. Actually, it's very interesting because I was thinking of it from a realtor standpoint. I was like, I would like to listen to that post because I would like to be better at that. And then on top of that, it's also good for somebody that's looking. They're like to buy or sell, and they're like, wow, this guy knows his stuff. So that's really interesting. So how do you find your content?
Step one is always engage, right? Look at who the people who are winning do and what can you do to emulate them. And I suppose step two would be express yourself. Now, you've probably heard this before. You don't have to be a great creator, although it helps, but you can be a curator. And one of the things that our mothership does quite well, and I'm sure you've experienced this, Helen Hannah Casey probably spends all day or a chunk of her day sharing what Howard Hanna agents post. And there's no feeling like having, like, the queen,
yes,
right? Her Hannah-ship share something that you post. That's really
done that,
right?
Yeah.
So you can write something, you can link to something, you can write a column. You don't necessarily have to just write a post. You can actually write an article, and you can also upload a video. Now, I have a genetic mutation. I do not suffer from stage fright, which, well, when I talk, I don't suffer from stage fright when I am speaking. And so this is therapeutic for me. But if you're shy, then write, or just, you don't have to be a performer. You can do voiceover on videos.
I like this now. So I don't know if you've spent a lot of time listening to my podcast, but a lot of it goes down to fear and getting over fear, because I do think, being a social animal is important in our field, and a lot of people are terrified of it. Yep. Now you mentioned the different post types. So you mentioned you like to do video a lot, but you could also write. So then how would you do a post like that? Would you put a photo there and then just describe the photo, or like, what do you think, what type of content outside of video works well?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a guy that's worth following named Scott Harris. And he's got it down. He's got his formula. He's figured out what works. He's a good-looking guy. He posts selfies, and then he will write 3 to 5 paragraphs about a best practice or a cautionary tale or something that is equally palatable for both consumers or industry folks. Nothing behind the curtain, just something anybody would appreciate. Don't overprice your property. This is why this doesn't work, et cetera, et cetera. And he gets a lot of great engagement. And he ends a lot of his posts with a question. What are your thoughts? Or how does this work for you? Things like that. And that's just so much right. There's visual. There is value-added kind of thoughts, not just, pick me. Although if you're smart and you post a piece of value, a piece of instruction, a piece of education, a best practice, it will say between the lines, pick me, because you're establishing your credibility and your body of knowledge. And so he's got the visual, he's got the good value offering, and he then, is the catalyst for discussion and comments, and he responds to people. And
awesome.
That is also good. So that's a lot of things that are right. And you can really appreciate if someone is really putting stuff out there and you comment. It's nice when they like your comment, right? It's nice.
Yep.
It's a nice little tickle. Yeah, it's nice to be heard, right?
Yeah.
So that's all good. But you should mix it up. I mean, what I, upon occasion, will do is I see something I like and I'll share it. And it could be another post from someone else on LinkedIn that I really agree with, or it could be, an article that I found that I feel is worth sharing because I don't want to be a basic biscuit. I don't want to be one.
I'm glad you said biscuit, not the other word. That was the idea. But look, there's a lot to unpack there.
Sure.
Providing value.
Yes.
Calls to action. This is a platform that is more similar to YouTube than any other platform is. It's an educational platform, and that means not that it's a video platform, meaning the content style that works is educational and value providing. So that is also really important that, something that you mentioned there is that you create posts that people will enjoy reading, that will create some value, that maybe you understood something from a situation that you were in and you describe it there. And then you put the call to action. And this, we've heard call to action being very important across all platforms. And of course, in LinkedIn, that also is important. It's like, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Do you think, for example, right now, we have with this TikTok ban and all that craziness this way and that way, asking, what do you think about this? Just talking about the certain specific things that are going on currently, or just things that maybe you thought of that have been going on that maybe people haven't really addressed. And that's why I really like the grind my gear posts, because I do think they get a lot of interaction, because it's usually controversial in a nice way. We're not talking about politics. We're not going to be Biden, Trump. That's going to cause mayhem, and we don't want that kind of attention. We want attention toilet paper over or under, but not on LinkedIn. But essentially, that's the innocent style of grind my gears. Oh yeah, I agree. Over, definitely over. But that's the innocent kind of I guess posts that will create attention that won't offend anybody.
Right.
So that's interesting. So what else do you think is important, or what have you learned from, what has LinkedIn given back to you?
Yeah, well, certainly a lot of referrals, which is a good thing. And it's taught me a lot of, basic underpinnings on how algorithms work on various platforms. I learned early on that LinkedIn's algorithm favors native videos updated directly into LinkedIn and hosted by LinkedIn than just linking to something that I put on YouTube. So it's a little bit of extra work because, when I go in and edit the captions, or I have to cut and paste the description, sometimes I might change it a little bit for LinkedIn. But it taught me certainly how algorithms work and that why I need to do a separate upload onto Facebook/Instagram, a separate upload into YouTube, and then a separate upload into LinkedIn, because each platform is going to favor its own native content over something you link to on another program, although they allow you to do that. But, another thing is that is powerful for controlling your online narrative. What a lot of real estate professionals don't understand, and what a lot of consumers innately understand, is that when a consumer meets a real estate agent, they're going to Google them. They're gonna see, who is this person that I had this nice conversation with on at the open house, or that I met when I walked into the office or whatever. And if someone's going to Google you, you better make damn sure that you control the narrative that they find. And I've said this to a lot of the agents that I manage and train. You ever been ghosted? Well, I promise you that somewhere between 25 and 50% of the time you've been ghosted, they Googled you, and they were either underwhelmed by what they found, like you have your old company on some profile somewhere, or they saw something shinier, who is your competition, who did a better job of bringing something to the table. And I train my agents, you better make sure that your Zillow, your Realtor.com, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, your Facebook business page, your company profile, your association profile is just Mac Daddy, high definition photo, your elevator speech and specialties in there. Stop specializing in everything from horse properties to city co-ops. Just, delineate your niche. And, what happens when people Google you is a question that every professional needs to answer. There's people that do that thing for a living, right? And that is in large part how I, especially when I was an independent broker, built my brand. I wanted that when people Googled me, that they would think I'm an idiot for not using this guy, because because
you have your stuff figured out,
content out there.
That's okay. So many things, but I was just
sorry.
No, good things, amazing things.
There we go.
No, well, one thing was, it's very interesting because I was a guest on another podcast just the other day, New York region, Lisa and Chuck. And so we were talking about, have you ever Googled yourself? And like, are you like good on Google? Are you like, will people find you? Do you have a Google page? So you bringing that up, and it's so funny because you just regurgitated without us talking before this, everything that I just said the other day. So I love that, because that means it's true, guys. Make sure that when you Google yourself, everything is good. You want good photos. You want all your social media. You want all your profiles, Realtor.com, Trulia, LinkedIn, everything to be consistent, I would say, within the social media guidelines, but also just professional and something that people want to use from you. But actually, this podcast, as we know, is geared towards other realtors. And what I like to also ask is how you monetize social media, which you kind of briefly spoke about, which was referrals. How did you get yourself to being somebody that people came to for referrals through LinkedIn? That's very interesting, because that made you money.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to make it clear that the last 3 popes have all said that Catholics can Google themselves during Lent and when it's not Lent. You can Google yourself 365 days a year. All right. So all 3 popes have said that, in case anybody was wondering.
Just in case.
So I could probably do a better job of tracking the analytics, because, I'm an English major and I'm not really like into math and statistics, except when it's baseball or real estate. And then I become suddenly like somehow mathematically inclined. Thank you, ADHD. So it would be a riot, really, for me to go back and track the source of all of my LinkedIn transactions, my active rain transactions, and that sort of thing. But I want to contextualize it that if you're on LinkedIn as a lead generation thing, then you're kind of missing the point, because we don't run sales, right? People move when they need to move. I can't, say buy one, get one free, like a bakery, and then suddenly people decide their housing needs have changed. Let's move, right? So you can't do Black Friday in real estate. So I find that it is a way to congeal all of my other efforts. So many of the people that I'm connected to on LinkedIn, I know from when I was a very active blogger on Active Rain. And of course, all of us are still friends on Facebook and so forth. And each platform has its own,
Yes.
Facebook, there's so much to sift through, because the older I get, the more people are like, okay, you're burying your dog, someone's in the hospital, like Facebook has become like there's not a lot of real estate stuff there.
Yeah.
A lot of these are my grandchildren. That's great. But if I'm connected to people on at least two platforms, the likelihood of them seeing something where the focus, the filter is business content, that's where it'll all come to a head at the end of the relationship funnel, if you will. If we look at a referral as a relationship funnel, I know there's this guy in New York. He's got 4 kids. They probably know that from Facebook. They probably know that I was I blogged a lot 10 years ago on Active Rain. But when we get to LinkedIn and we have a connection on LinkedIn, they will start seeing what I have on there. So it's not just that I put a video on LinkedIn. It is all the other things kind of led people to LinkedIn, especially if they're in the industry. And I'll get, fair number of questions. One guy had a referral in Rochester, but he called me. That's kind of cool. But I've been getting his referrals for years, and I originally knew him from Active Rain. So the sum is greater than the total, right? The total is greater than the sum of its parts. And it's not just a lead gen thing. It is a way to culminate relationships and to get people toward that end of that funnel. That might be a little bit abstract, but you got to do more than one thing.
Yes.
Don't get on LinkedIn and expect everything's going to be magic just because you put up 10 videos.
Yeah. So that's interesting, which also then kind of what I believe one of the things that you're mentioning is engaging with other people's posts as well, engaging with others and creating that relationship, that professional relationship through LinkedIn, where it's not only, hey, I'm going to upload 10 videos and now all of a sudden I'm going to have people coming out to me to be their realtor and have other realtors send business my way. No, you're going in there to build relationships with other professionals as well. So I would think that if you went in there and you interacted with their posts, then they start interacting with your posts, and then all of a sudden this becomes a relationship that you've created naturally just through engaging. And this is what I always say on every platform is like, don't be selfish, right? Don't think that, hey, I'm just going to post my stuff and I'm not going to interact with anybody else's stuff. That's not how it works. And you will fall flat on your face in any platform if you do your stuff that way. You need to engage with others. You need to do quality engagement with others where you're actually contributing and you're not just like thumbs up, cool. Or you could write a cool comment like, I really agree with that. Or, hey, you know what? I'm not so sure I agree. I kind of like the other way. So you're giving some actual value and creating a relationship where you guys don't be a jerk. I mean, don't be like, I hate what you wrote. You suck. But I think, giving some value back that will contribute to their posts as well, especially on LinkedIn.
Look, unless you are a, viral content creator and you have tens of thousands of hits and, you go live and you kibitz for 30 seconds and then you have 5,000 people watching, then you are missing a great opportunity by not responding to every single possible response or comment that you got, because people want to know that they've been heard. And, you got 27 views and 4 comments. Acknowledge them. Don't be a jerk. 4
comments is 4 people.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Like you're not in the ivory tower. You're not Dick Clark. I mean, come on, just respond. And I'm guilty of this. I mean, I suppose I'm sure I could do better. I'm sure people could be like, oh, here's a post. You didn't do anything. Sorry. But I do my best,
He thinks he's better than me. That's funny.
So yeah,
man.
And it's fun. Good. You should have fun with it, right? I mean, this should be fun. This beats door knocking. This beats cold calling,
True.
Right?
True.
And like I said, people who are going to do a little bit of due diligence on the agent that they're considering using, or who are real estate agents out of my market, and I got somebody going to Westchester County, who's the best match for these people? Mm-hmm. Who's the most knowledgeable agent that I can put them in good hands with? This is why it's important to when people dive down your rabbit hole, for them to find as much good as possible.
Wow, this was a great episode, and if you guys didn't get a lot out of this, you weren't paying attention.
I'll try harder.
Some of this stuff, yeah, no, you did very good. I want to go over some of the main points that I got. LinkedIn is a platform where you provide value. You don't just put posts up and don't write anything about it. You upload directly on YouTube, which will definitely benefit you with your engagement. You
on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn, yes.
Right.
And you have a call to action, which is very important to, incentivize people to contribute to your post. You respond back to people who post on your LinkedIn stuff, and you also engage with people who have their posts. Don't only engage with your own commenters, engage with your commenters' posts that they put up.
Yeah, play some away games. Don't just play home games. Don't just comment to people who comment on yours. Take the act on the road, go through your scroll, and acknowledge people who are putting it all out there. There's people trying really hard. Don't be stingy, Just say nice things.
And if you do that, you will not only get clients potentially, but you will also potentially get referrals, which is a huge source of a lot of people's business. And once you create a referral partner, that's super important. So this is great. Phil, is there any last remarks or any, words of wisdom that you would like to impart on the
I just want to be like you. I just want to be like, so it's enough that we're doppelgangers, but I want to be like you. I want to have your, I want to think like you. You are putting it out there, right? It's Sunday morning, right? We could be doing anything. It's a holiday weekend, but you are putting it out there, and that is a great thing. These are the people I want to break bread with. People like you, Harvey, people that are putting it out there, trying to make their contribution to the industry and to the end consumer, and to really demonstrate that we're not middlemen, right? We are advocates. We are playing chess in an industry where most people, unfortunately, are just playing checkers, right?
Yeah.
So this real estate thing should never be a do-it-yourself project. And you need an advocate. And we are worth more than what our fee is. But until people really dive in and see all the moving parts that we have to orchestrate, then we're just being quiet about something we ought not, that we should be vocal about. So hats off to the people who are putting it out there and making the effort.
I truly appreciate that. And I would like to mention how confused you made everyone when you called us doppelgangers. Guys, this is an inside this is an inside joke, guys.
You can tell. I think it's great. I'm very proud of that first.
I love it. The funny thing is that you confuse people on video, and you probably confuse people that are listening without video too. So people out there, half the people probably think we do look like each other, and then the other half are really confused as to why you said that. So this was an inside joke that Phil and us had, where we were at a convention for managers, and he was like, I was in the mirror today thinking about how we look so much alike. And we just started bursting out and laughing. It was just the funniest thing, because clearly if you've seen my face and you see Phil, we don't look alike, but we've gone with it, and we say we're twinning. We're always twinning. But you know what? We might be twins up here, with the mind, so we were thinking the same way. So maybe that's what it is. But thank you so much, Phil, for giving us your time on this holiday weekend.
Thank you.
And thank you, listeners, again. And as I always end my episode, don't be a basic biscuit.